Hello, we're back. All right. Welcome everybody to the Manchester United Community Channel, and like I said, we're back with another Manchester United news show. Plenty to talk about. We haven't been on in a good few days, so plenty to talk about. For anyone who's watching on YouTube, you can see the main title is in relation to McTominay and Casemiro, and obviously Manchester United, don't have another game until the end of the international break, and what a game it's going to be. We're away to Manchester City in the Etihad, and I suppose the title of the video is decision time, and I suppose the main decision that is going to come on to Ten Hag for the game against Man City in a couple of weeks' time is in relation to team selection. Obviously, Scott McTominay and Casemiro are vying for the same role, and look, we have to say that, straight off the bat, that McTominay has been playing very well the last few games for Manchester United. So, I don't think anyone really would, be giving out too much if he did start against Manchester City. But we're just going to have, look, it's nothing too scripted. We're just going to have a chat about, McTominay, about Casemiro, about, Manchester United in general. What kind of team, should we really go with against Man City? Obviously, look, McTominay and Casemiro, like we said, are vying for the same spot. I think long term it is going to be Casemiro, but I don't think anyone would take it away from McTominay if he is to start against Manchester City. Great to see people in already. Sloppy Spider's in, good to see you. Cottle is there, Eddie is there, good to see you guys. Smash a like on the video as well if you haven't done so already. Helps the channel out a lot. And good to see so many people in as well on TikTok as well. Get any questions or views you have into the chat. So yeah, I'd like to know what you guys think more than anything. Jonathan, good to see you, pal. Thanks for joining. I'd like to know what you guys think as well in relation to McTominay and Casemiro. Obviously, you would be thinking that the game against Manchester City is going to be the biggest test of the season. Obviously, they're absolutely flying at the moment. And as much as you'd hate to say it, they do look, I won't say unstoppable, but they do look like, a team that's, going to be very, very, very difficult to beat in the coming weeks and months. Obviously depending on, injuries and things like that, I do think they have good depth in their squad as well, Manchester City. Obviously their main threat is Haaland, but if you look at, if you were to take Haaland out of the team, they also have, what's his name? Brain freeze. Alvarez up front as well, and he's after scoring a couple of goals this season as well. So they're absolutely going to be, definitely the most difficult test we've had so far. But I think it's probably going to be the toughest game we're going to have all season, going away to Manchester City, given the form that they're in as well, the goals that Haaland is scoring, how well De Bruyne is playing. But the one thing I would say about Manchester City is that, as good as they've been and the goals that they've been scoring, United Loader, appreciate it, man. Thanks for the gifts. Anyone watching on TikTok as well, boys, go and give him a follow. Does some great Manchester United content there as well. But yeah, Manchester City, they have been conceding goals, not an awful lot, but have been conceding goals. They haven't been, I suppose, if you're looking at the contrast between Manchester United's backline and Manchester City's backline, the one thing I would say over the last maybe 4, 5, 6 games is that we've had a settled back four, where they've been chopping and changing. And look, I know Guardiola does like to do that. He does like to change his team, quite a lot, and he brings players in and again with squad depth like that, absolutely they can do it. But I suppose, again, coming down to it, and I said it against the Arsenal when we were playing Arsenal, I thought the winning and losing of the game was going to be our defence versus their attack. And I think that's going to be quite similar as well to the Man City game. And I think it's going to be the key aspect for Manchester United over the course of this season, potentially. Can we keep clean sheets? Can we not concede goals? Because we've seen historically over the last... Now, look, obviously, it's a completely different team now and different mindset than we had last year and even the season before. But especially last season, we've seen with Manchester United, if we do go a goal behind, and we've seen it in the first 2 games of this season as well. Jonathan, thanks for the gift. If Manchester United do go a goal behind, it tends to be where we falter. And, you know, confidence levels are maybe not back to where they should be given the poor season we had last year. I do think Ten Hag is certainly working on that, and it's his main aspect is shoring up the back four, you know, and because I don't think we're overly flush with goals at the moment, even though we have been getting good results, you know, and we've been scoring goals against Man City or against Liverpool and against Arsenal, you know, to obviously the two main tests, but against the likes of Southampton and against Leicester, you know, we didn't score. We scored one goal, you know, and it was probably down to the fact that we have such a solid back four that's making good connections with each other and good, you know, camaraderie between the four of them, that it's given us the platform to go on and win games. Cottle says McTominay has played well. He deserves to start as long as he's playing well, and that's something that I would agree with as well. Absolutely, Cottle. I think, you know, and I think Ten Hag does have that mindset as well in relation to you know, picking a team, that he does seem to be going with players who are playing well, you know, and McTominay is a prime example of that. As everybody knows who's watching my content, I wasn't a massive fan of him. I'm still not a huge fan of him. I love his desire and his effort, and you know, he's a real Manchester United player, and he loves the jersey and he loves the club. But you know, the last few games he's really surprised me in relation to how well he's improved. And I think Ten Hag rewards that, and we've seen it with Delors as well. You know, Delors has been playing very well, and he continues to get picked. Now I know there's not as much competition for right back as there is, say, for Scott McTominay with Casemiro right behind him. But absolutely, I think Ten Hag is going to reward good performances. Cotton says City should genuinely have an invincible season. I think they're after. Did they lose already? Did they lose or did they just draw? I'm not 100% sure. But again, yeah, I agree with you there. And as much as it pains me to say, I mean, I can't see them being stopped. I really can't. Unless they get injuries. I can't see them being stopped in relation to winning the league and having a really, really, really good go to of the Champions League. But yeah, let's see what people are saying here. User says, what do you think about Greenwood coming back? Look, Greenwood is not coming back, you know, anytime soon, guys. He was named in the Manchester United, you know, squad for the season for the sole reason that if this, you know, situation that he's going through does end, then United do have the option of playing him. So that's the only reason he was registered. I don't think he's going to play for Manchester United this season. I really don't. Now, if he does, oh, well and good. But it's something I don't really want to get into too much because, you know, it's a tricky subject. Iron says, I think Fulham will give us trouble. Okay, I don't know when we're playing them. I don't think it's this side of Christmas. Angus says, I think the newfound vigour and pride and passion in our backline will shine on the day. Yeah, I think so, and that goes back to what I was saying. I think that's where the winning and losing of the game potentially might be. Now, again, look, if we were to go out and get beat by City 2 or 3-0, given the firepower that they have and how well that they're playing, I don't think Manchester United fans in general would be... I'm not going to say we would be disappointed because of course we would to be losing the City at any time, but we're not going to be calling for anyone's heads, you know, or you know, Ten Hag out or big changes to the team or anything like that. But yeah, I do agree. You know, the back line is just such a breath of fresh air this season that it's given us, you know, some, I suppose, newfound hope. Not really hope, but it's given us a reason to like the team again, which, you know, we haven't done in a while. Andy says, do you think Anthony was rushed into the squad? He is going unnoticed in some games. Well, look, he's only played a few games. Obviously, he had the great start against Arsenal with the goal. I do think that getting that goal has taken a lot of pressure off his shoulders instantly, because if you're coming in like he has for, you know, the bones of 100 million, I mean, all of a sudden you're 4 games in, 5 games in, you haven't got a goal, then you're 10 games in and there's no goal, and that's where the pressure comes. So I think the fact that he's got a goal, you know, it does take the pressure off him massively. So I'm happy for that, absolutely. But look, I think it'll take time for him to integrate into the good night. See you in the morning. My daughter's going to bed. But yeah, I do think it's going to take time to integrate him into the team, to get him up to the speed of the league. look, I don't care how good a player you are, or how much you come for, how much your price tag is. When you're coming to the Premier League from the Eredivisie, it's a different ball game. It really is. But I do think that goal, straight off the bat is going to help him. And Andy says, plus Casemiro is slowly getting worked into the team. He is, absolutely. And Ten Hag said that. He came out straight away. Well, not straight away, but he did say it early on that, look, it's going to take time for Casemiro to learn the way I want to play the game, the tempo I want to play at and things like that. And as unbelievable as a team that he came from with Real Madrid, you would still say that La Liga is not up to the same pace as the Premier League. So, look, it's all going to take time. It's great to have these players in the door. And I said it before, even with the transfer window rolling on through the summer, that, will Manchester United get the signings that they want? And I remember when the De Jong deal was rolling on and people were giving out that it, could potentially roll all the way to the transfer deadline. And my point was being that with these players that, if we're looking at a long-term project with Ten Hag, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 10 years, that, okay, who cares if we get him in now or if we get him in 3 weeks' time, back when the transfer window was open. So now that these players are in, we're looking long-term. So I'm in no hurry to get overly judgmental about these players because, we see how quickly Ten Hag has improved the team over an 8 or a 12-week period. Now, can you imagine, how further down the field we will be, in terms of what he wants us or how he wants us to play in 12 months' time or 2 years' time. So, look, we just need to be patient as fans, Do you ever get sick of talking about United, says Ronnie? No, I don't, because I'm a United fan. Tommy says, let's be positive about the derby. I'm going to go 2-1 Manchester United. Well, that's what it's about, Tommy. You do have to be positive. It is going to be a very difficult game, but it is historically over the last few years, we've gone to the Etihad and we haven't done too bad. And again, these kind of games, these derbies, you never know. Obviously, remember the last game before lockdown where we beat them in Old Trafford. McTominay scored and things like that. Jared, thanks for the gift, really appreciate it. So look, it's going to be a great game. I'm really looking forward to it. It's just such a shame we have to wait so long for the game. The international. International break is happening in the Nations League, and this Nations League is just a waste of time, but it's something I'm going to get into. I'm doing a live podcast tomorrow night as well on the Podbean app. You can check it out. Link is on my homepage if you want to go and follow it on TikTok or anyone watching on YouTube. It's pinned to the top of the chat, links there as well. So we're going to be going live for the podcast tomorrow. Again, we're going to be talking about Manchester United, but we're also going to be talking about the Nations League and international football in general. And is it maybe a bit of a waste of time, these international friendlies? Angus says, should Harry Maguire get a place in the starting team anytime soon? Absolutely not. I think the only way Harry Maguire gets back into this team is if we have injuries. And again, it goes back to the partnership that Varane and Martinez are after forming in such a short period of time. Like you look at say the last great partnership that we had at centre back was Vidic and Ferdinand, and they were the bones of 12 months getting that together. They really were. Like Vidic came in 2000 and was it 2005, 2006? I think he came in a January transfer window, maybe 2006 January transfer window, and we looked very shaky that year. We still did, even when he came in. But after I think it was maybe 8 or 9 months, I think it was by Christmas of the following season, you could see a real partnership forming between Ferdinand and Vidic at the time. And you look now at Varane and Martinez, 4 games in that they've really been playing together, 4 or 5 games, and to concede what is it, 2 goals in the league in 4 or 5 games, it's been really, really good, and it's been really promising, and it's a stepping stone, and it's a foundation that we can give it. And like I said, having that settled back four and a strong back four gives the team the emphasis then to go on and win games. If you don't concede goals, you don't lose. That sounds like a Michael Owen quote. 9 times out of 10, if you score more goals than the opposition, you win the game. I think he said that one night on BT, and he got absolutely ripped to shreds on on social media. But you know what I mean. You know, it gives the team, you know, the springboard to go on and win games if we have a good solid back four. Let's see. Jared says, top tier United fan. You have similar views to myself. I have a lot of time for you. I appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words. Angus says, yes, Tommy, United for the win. We like these derbies, says Angus. And Vincent is in from South Africa as well. Good to see you, Vincent. And we have Alston from Cape Town in South Africa. Good to see you guys. Sharma is in as well. It's been a long time. Good to see you, pal. Thanks for joining us again. 3-2 United win, he says, in the derby. And Cottle says, bit early for a prediction, but I'm going 2-2. I think it'll be a cracking game. Yeah, look, and it is a bit too early for predictions in relation to the derby, because it all depends on, you know, you don't really want to be giving a prediction before players come back from international duty. You know, we don't know what, you know, injuries. Hopefully we don't have any injuries. But yeah, it's too early to go for a prediction with that. Kelvin is in. Good to see you, pal. And Dan is there as well. And Jock, good to see you guys. Thanks for joining. Keep smashing the like button for us, guys. Let's try to get to 5,000 likes on TikTok. We're nearly at 1,500 already. Gets more people into the chat. Really appreciate it. And as well, to let you know, you can now subscribe on TikTok as well. It is at a fee, but you get extra content. You get a badge beside your name, and you get the chance to join some of the lives as well. So if that's something you're interested in, check it out. You can subscribe to the channel as well. We have 1 subscriber already. So yeah, let's see. Windows is in. Good to see you, pal. Oh, sorry, it's Thomas. I keep calling you Windows, but it's Thomas. And Tom is there and says, having a steady back 2 helps us focus on other parts of the field and not being a bag of nerves anytime all the ball goes near a goal. I agree with you 100% there, Tom. Absolutely. And I think that could be another reason why the likes of Scott McTominay is starting to play so well now, is that he's, you know, and maybe not just Scott McTominay, but you look at the likes of Eriksen there beside him, and even Bruno Fernandes to a certain extent. The pressure is off of, not the pressure is off, but they don't have to be overly concerned about defending all the time when you know you have a good back four, a good base behind you. It gives you that confidence to maybe take a step further up the field and you know, to look for the ball a bit more and not be as worried about giving it away. So I absolutely agree with you there. Sharmer says all the South Africans are in. They are, absolutely. Bonnie is in there as well from South Africa. Manchester is red, says Manny. Let's see what other people are saying. Who do you think Man United will buy in January, says Kelvin. To be honest, I don't really know. Like, January is a very, very tough one to kind of predict. Obviously, it's a hard transfer window to buy players and get players in the door. So, you know, teams don't want to get rid of players midway through their season when they have no real, I won't say confidence, but they have no real, I suppose, they're not guaranteed to sign players, you know. So look, it'll be interesting if we can get 1 or 2 players in the door. I would be really happy. I would love another striker to come in because I think we are weak in that area. I think we probably could do with another central midfielder, because I can't see Eriksen playing every single game. He's instrumental to our team, so I'd like to see maybe a similar player to him come in. But again, look, we'll see what happens, and maybe someone at right back as well to properly go head to head with Delot. Now, that's not to say I want Delot out of the team because he's been fantastic, but I think Ten Hag is quite headstrong that he wants competition in every single place on the pitch, and that's a great, you know, way to be as a manager, and it's a great thing to have, you know, with your squad. If you do have, you know, 2 players fighting it out for every position, you are going to get the best out of them players. So absolutely, you know. I think we need the defending, so I go with Casemiro, says Sharmer, and Cottle says I can't wait for Martial to be back. Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to Martial coming back. Obviously, he's only played half a game in the league this season, and he has 1 assist. So you know, if he can, if he can keep up the performances that he had in pre-season, and up his game and stay injury free, then absolutely, he'll be a welcome addition there to the squad. Let's see. Would you take Ivan Toney, says Kelvin? I certainly would. Luke, thanks for the gift on TikTok. Really appreciate it. And Jube says, still light up front, striker needed in January. Yeah, absolutely. Aaron says, which area should we go for next? I think right back. Yeah, we mentioned right back there as well. Alston says, you think we need a striker next transfer? Should be the focus. Yeah, I think so. Striker, absolutely. But again, what I would say about that, and as well, I always say the same when it comes to the January transfer window. And I don't think it will happen, because Ten Hag is quite smart, and he knows the type of player he wants, and he's mentioned it on a number of occasions that he said we don't just go out and buy players, we have to buy the right players. And I think he's right in what he's saying, because I don't want to go out and buy a striker for the sake of buying a striker in January, where we could maybe hold off until the summer and go for a number one target, the likes of an Nkunku, or I know Sesko, for example, is gone now, but you know what I mean. So, I hope we don't buy a striker in January just to fill a stopgap, and then when we go, if Ten Hag goes to the board in May and says, okay, I want a striker, say, hey, we just bought you one in January. What's that all about? So, we do need to be smart in relation to that as well. Bungus says, go in for Kane. Look, I mean, I think that will all depend on how Spurs get on this season. I think Spurs will make top four, I do. But for whatever reason, if they don't, is Conte going to stick around? He doesn't tend to. He was given everything he wanted in the summer, so it's now up to him to get that team into the top four. I think he will, but if for some reason they weren't, then you could be asking question marks about whether Kane is going to stay or not. I don't think we should be going for Kane given his age, and it's not the kind of profile of player that Ten Hag ideally is wanting to go for. Like we said, he's looking for younger, hungrier players. But absolutely, I wouldn't turn Kane down. No way. The likes of and look, Cottle just says it there. We should go in for Osman in the summer. Osman would be an unbelievable signing. He really would. And that's the kind of player you don't want to miss out on in the summer, just because you bought maybe a backup option in January. So that's what I would be worried about. What do you think about Man United's swoop on Son in the transfer window? Again, he's probably outside of the age profile that we're looking for. New goalkeeper, says Q. I don't think it's an overly, I suppose, I don't think it's a number one area we need to strengthen at the moment. I think Ten Hag is going to concentrate on getting areas of importance strengthened first. Like David De Gea is not a bad goalkeeper. He's just not, and you can see in the last few games, he is getting a bit more confident on the ball, looking for the ball, nearly playing as a sweeper keeper. Now, he's nowhere near up to the standard that Ten Hag requires. But again, that comes back to maybe the back four being strong in front of him. The confidence is building overall in the team. So I think other areas will be strengthened before we look at a new goalkeeper. Paul is in. Good to see you, pal. Owen says, can't wait for Martial to come back. Absolutely. User said, what's your take about Mbappe move to Manchester? Look, I mean, I think of Mbappe, I think he's after burning his bridges with Real Madrid, and I have a friend of mine is a Real Madrid fan, and I was actually I was speaking to him on Sunday, and I said, will you go back in for Mbappe? And he said, Perez, the president, he said, won't go anywhere near him. He said he's a very headstrong president, and Mbappe last minute turned down Real Madrid, so Perez will just go, no way. I could see them holding out for 3 or 4 years and going in for Haaland, because I think Haaland will eventually end up playing for them. So that may open the door if Mbappe is to leave the likes of PSG. Would he come to England? He'd be ideal for Manchester United, absolutely. But would Manchester United pay that kind of money? I don't know. Let's see. Martial has always been a pre-season wonder, says Connor. Have you heard about Mason Greenwood, says Kelvin? Yeah, we discussed that. We need a striker for sure. Is Man United game on, says Alan? So no games on. Next game is the Man City game on the 2nd of October. Jonathan, thanks for the gift. Appreciate it, pal. Let's see. Stay away from Kane, says Richie. Johnny says opinion on Greenwood. Yeah, we mentioned Greenwood, guys. Do you think we will win the derby versus City? It's going to be tough, Luke, but look, we'll know more once players get back from international duty. We'll have a better idea of the squad available. Justice says Osman is a class striker. It's just what we need. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Make sure you follow as well, guys. Keep hitting the like button as well, and follow along if you haven't done so already. Anybody watching on YouTube, if you haven't already done so, please take a second, hit the thumbs up button for me. Tallulah, thanks for the gift as well. I really appreciate it. So hit the like button for me on YouTube, guys, if you haven't already done so. And make sure you're liking and subscribing as well and following. Owen says, Osman is the perfect fit for us. We need to go for him in the summer, no matter the money. I agree. I wouldn't say Mbappe would have any interest in going to United, to be fair, says Mitzi. Yeah, well, look, I think maybe, Paul, thanks for the gift. I think maybe, 2 or 3 years down the line, if we were looking at, if we were constantly challenging for league titles and we were winning trophies again, then you could be thinking maybe, all right, we could go for the likes of an Mbappe. But I think the fact that we're challenging for top 4, I don't see the name of Manchester United being big enough of a draw. Now, I'm not talking from my own perspective, because obviously, in my opinion, and the majority of your opinions, the United fans' biggest club in the world. But Mbappe, as a player, would say, well, look, I'm challenging for Champions Leagues here with PSG and winning the league all the time. I'm not going to jump down to just challenging for top 4. So maybe 2 or 3 years' time, if something like that was to come up, then I think we could go all out for him. Tom says Mbappe is too childish, and I agree with you there, Tom. And I think what PSG done in giving him the power that he has is just absolutely criminal. Absolutely criminal. And I heard today as well that he refused to go into a photo shoot for the French national team because of sponsorship deals that he has and stuff like that. So his head is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger as the weeks and months roll on. So, by the time he does end up leaving PSG, is anyone going to really even want him? That's the thing, So we just don't know. Cottle says, hope Real buy Haaland just so City don't have him. Yeah, it'd be great if they got him in January, wouldn't it? Martial is better than Mbappe. We don't need that money grabber. And Patrick says, McSauce out. He wouldn't get in an SPFL side, let alone the biggest club in the world. Bow to our future dominance, says Patrick. Now look, by no means is McTominay the long-term option for Manchester United at centre midfield. But I have to give credit where credit is due. He has been playing very well the last few games. So for that reason, I've been slating him for 18 months, 2 years nearly, and he has impressed me in the last 4 or 5 games, I have to say. So I will criticise players when they're not playing well. It's nothing personal. It's just as a fan we give our opinions. But also when they're playing well, you have to, hold your hand up and say, well done, so absolutely, I'll certainly do that. But yeah, Mbappe is a man-child with so much money he could buy the club, needs to kick up the hole, says Patrick. I agree. I absolutely agree. Never give Maguire a chance to play again because we have a defensive general. Martinez says, user. I agree with you there. Luke says, in your opinion, what position you think we will end up in? I reckon we'll get top 4. I do think we'll get top 4. Again, that's if I was looking now at every club not having another injury for the next 7 or 8 months till the end of the season, I think we will get top 4. I think we will get 4th. I think we'll get it ahead of Arsenal. I do think Liverpool will be in the top 4 as well, and obviously Man City and Spurs. But yeah, I think we will. But I think it's going to be a direct fight between ourselves, Arsenal, and Chelsea. I think we have a better squad than Arsenal. They have some good players, absolutely. But I just think we have a better squad. I think we have better players. Vincent says, any opinion on United having a look at Brefetimbi Gomez with Newcastle, also interested? Yeah, I've heard about the links to him. Look, to be honest, I'm not putting a lot of interest into researching players at the moment, obviously because we're outside of the transfer window. But I mean, look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think if Ten Hag is going for a player and he wants a player, I'm on board. Let's do it. Because in such a short period of time, he's proved already that his signings have been good ones. Malacia, very good. Martinez, very good. Ericsson, very good. Anthony, okay, has the potential to be very good, but, early doors. And Casemiro is just a great signing all round, So if Ten Hag comes out and says he wants a certain player, who are we to to question him, given, how well he's done so far? Calvin says, would you take Bellingham? Because I would take him. I think every team in the world would take Bellingham, Calvin. And every team in the world, that can afford him will be in for him next summer. He is going to leave Borussia Dortmund next summer. I'm certain of it. Will he come? Could he come to Manchester United? I mean, he certainly could. I think the connection there before he went to Dortmund and he got the full tour of Old Trafford and the Carrington training ground, and United brought in Alex Ferguson, Brian Robson and Eric Cantona, to show him around and try and convince him. Obviously that's not a bad thing. It will, it could lead to something positive in relation to trying to get him next summer, but we will have our work cut out if we are trying to get him. Barcelona are going to be in for him. Real Madrid are going to be in for him. Liverpool are going to be in for him. I don't know if City are going to be in for him. Probably not. Chelsea will be in for him. Probably Arsenal as well. PSG, Bayern Munich, they're all going to be in for him. Juventus, so I would absolutely take the hand and all of you. I think he would be a brilliant signing, and a signing that we could build a team around over the next 5, 6, 7 years. So it'd be absolutely fantastic. Patrick says Bellingham will go to our rich neighbours. We can't compete with their dirty oil money or Pep's shiny head, says Patrick. I don't know. I mean, them going out and getting the likes of Calvin Phillips this year, and they've got a lot of central midfielders. I don't know where. Obviously, you would fit Bellingham in there, but I think they would have to sell players before they would go and get him. And Cotton says, I don't think we'll sign him. We never sign these big players when there's competition. And Alston says, what happens to Constable Jones? That lad is just picking up a wage at the moment, really. He's literally just robbing a living. How United have held on to him for so long without, just chucking him out the door, I don't know. Can you sum up the Greenwood situation? No, I'm not talking anymore about Greenwood, guys, because, look, it's a touchy subject, and we've discussed it. There's no update on it. Once his court case happens, we'll all hear about it in the press, and then we can talk about it, and we'll see what happens then. But, yeah. United Community Channel equals GOAT. That's a great username. I appreciate it. Says, can you talk about the Greenwood situation? Yeah, well, we just mentioned it there. Con says, ahead of Arsenal, are you delusional? We'll see. Luke says, we just have to believe. Glory, glory, Man United. Absolutely. David says, happy to be here. Good to have you here, David. Thanks for joining. John says, I think we need a striker, to be honest. Martial always getting injured. Ronaldo is a legend, no doubt. Yeah, absolutely. And it's an area that we are going to need to sign a player in anyway. Ronaldo's gone at the end of this season. United can trigger the contract extension, which they probably will, and then try and get a fee for him in the summer. But he will go in the summer, I would presume. I don't know, if we do get top 4, is that enough for him to stay? If we win the Europa League, I don't know. Let's see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves next summer. So that does mean we're going to need to improve on our, or we need to go and sign someone in that area anyway. Vincent is in. Good to see you, pal. And Patrick says Jones should love being released the year after he got his newest contract. He's been unusable. Definitely should have an injury clause in his contract. Absolutely. And Aaron is in and says, would you swap Rashford for Vinicius Jr. from Real Madrid? Yeah, probably. I probably would, to be honest. But these are all hypotheticals. Obviously I do like Rashford. Manchester United, born and bred, so it would be hard to depart with him. But if you're looking on quality alone, you would have to, if you use your head over your heart, you would have to go, with that. I think Fred makes Scott look bad most times. Ericsson brings the best out of those around him. Yeah, absolutely. Box says, I suggest Man United need Gakpo. He's very versatile up front. Absolutely. And the fact that Ten Hag was in for him shows what he thinks of him as well, I think KDB will destroy the Red Manchester at the Etihad, says Kingsley. Vincent says, not gone, switch to YouTube. No problem, pal. Ingshand says, it depends where we're going to end the season on who we get. Absolutely. What's new, Manchester? What's new, man? Much love watching from Uganda. Says Omugaga. Good to see you, pal. Thanks for joining. Ingson says, what's your prediction against City? I'm not going to give a prediction just yet, like I mentioned, because obviously we have a good way to go before the game. We have over 2.5 weeks nearly. Is it 2.5 weeks? Yeah, it is, I think. No, sorry, it's not. It's just under 2 weeks. Apologies. So we'll see what way players come back from international duty with injuries and things like that. We'll be able to give a prediction then. Let's see. Calvin says, do you think Man United will win Europa League? Well, I do think we have a great chance, and I do think it's something we have to take serious, because, it's probably our easiest route back into the Champions League, I think, because, I don't see it's like we can get top 4, but getting top 4 is going to be more difficult than winning the Europa League, so for that reason alone, I do think that we should be taking it very seriously. But I do certainly think we have a chance of winning it, absolutely. John says, I hope Ronaldo doesn't stay beyond next summer. Need a big, strong number 9. Let's see. Another John says, best Man United player at the moment. Oh, no, sorry, of all time. Best Man United player of all time, George Best. What's your thought about Benny McCarthy influence on the forwards? Well, it seems to be working. And, given how well we've been playing over the last 4, 5, 6 games, you can't really talk negative about any aspect of the club in relation to the performances on the field and, the training. Obviously, we don't know what goes on in training every week, and the camaraderie in the dressing room and what coaches are chatting to certain players and maybe the impact they're having on it. But I mean, if we look at results alone, something is going right. So, you would have to, if Benny McCarthy obviously is involved in that, then you have to, hold your hand up and give him credit as well. How many goals do you think CR7 will score this season? If he got 15, I'd be happy, because I don't think he's going to play as much as he did last year. And he got, 23, 24 last year. So if he got 15 goals, I'd be happy. Vincent says, I think Rashford needs this season. He should do well. We sell him for 150 million. Ashwin says, Scott or McTominay to start against City. Right, so let's get into McTominay versus Casemiro. Obviously, both of them are big men. And I think that is something that Ten Hag is liking to have in his midfield. And I think it is something we need. And I think that's one area that McTominay has been doing well in. He's winning a lot of headers for corners, for long throw-ins, for set pieces in general. And so I think that's a good reason why he should be in the team, or why he can be in the team. Now, on the flip side of that, in the cameo appearances that Casemiro has played, I've seen him win a couple of very good headers as well. He won one very good header on the weekend that, in our last game. Was it the Europa League game? And it was a perfectly good header, and there was actually a free kick given against him. And I thought it was a brilliant header. But so he is well able to get up and win headers as well. The difference that the main difference that I would have, and it's something that I didn't think Casemiro had or was as good at, was his range of passing is after surprising me. Even in the short appearances that he's had, and that he's played in, his passing has been brilliant, I think. Now, obviously, there's been one or two instances where he's given it away and stuff, but look, that's normal. But I think the fact that he played beside the likes of Modric and Kroos for so long at Real Madrid, that it kind of took the emphasis off him being able to pass the ball, and people didn't realise it as much. He's well able to pass the ball, and he's always looking for it. He's always in the right position. And so I think for that reason alone, I would err on the side of starting Casemiro over McTominay. Now, again, it's hard for me to understand what level Casemiro is at in relation to sharpness, match fitness, and And is he up to speed with the way Ten Hag wants him to play the game? Because obviously Scott McTominay has been there longer and has been training under Ten Hag for longer. So there are little areas that we don't see as fans. You know, the background, the training, the team talks, the tactics in general, and the one-on-one tactics to players. So, but if you put a fully fit, a fully sharp Casemiro and a fully fit, fully sharp Scott McTominay, I'm picking Casemiro all day. As well as Scott McTominay has been playing, and as much credit as I've given him in the last few weeks, I would still go with Casemiro just for that know-how and that kind of, winning mentality and big game player. Yeah, I'd go Casemiro. Let me know what you think, though. Let me know in the comments, guys. Jonathan, thanks for the gift. Let me know in the comments what we'll do. I'll tell you what we'll do here on. I'll do it on TikTok. We'll run a poll here, and we'll see. We'll see what you think. Casemiro or McTominay? Casemiro, McTominay. Okay, perfect. 5 minutes. So yeah, okay. So it's up there now. So and what we'll do is I'll do one here on YouTube as well. Casemiro. We'll put this one down as Casemiro to start because it's only a yes. Let's see. Casemiro to start. We'll have a look and see what people think. Casemiro to start. Sorry, guys. Yeah, but make sure you get your opinions in. Start against City, Little City. Yeah. But yeah, for that reason alone, I suppose, I would, as well as McTominay has been playing, and as much credit as I've given him in the last few weeks, I've been a big critic of him over the last few years. But I would still look to go with Casemiro if he's fully sharp, fully match fit. But again, look, we just don't know these kind of things as well until players come back from international duty. We just don't know how they're going to get on and what condition they're going to come back in. Scott McTominay might play every single game, in the internationals, whereas Casemiro might only play one or half a game. We just don't know. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, great to see so many people in as well, guys. 32 people watching on YouTube, but only 12 likes. Please take a second, hit the thumbs up button for me on YouTube. Helps out the channel an awful lot. And hit the subscribe button as well. Our goal is 5,000 subscribers before Christmas. It's going to be a very busy couple of months. We're going to have watch-alongs every 2 to 3 days for Manchester United, which is brilliant. And I'm going to be doing a lot of the watch-alongs throughout the World Cup as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a poll soon. And I want to get your opinion on who I should follow in the World Cup. Obviously, because I'm from Ireland and Ireland are not in the World Cup, I need a team to follow. And before you say anything, it's not going to be England, okay? So let's just tick that off the options there straight away. But yeah, if you have any opinions on who you'd like me to follow, we can do that, and I'll do all of their games for watch-alongs. But obviously, I'm going to try and do maybe 3 watch-alongs a week with the World Cup. We'll pick the bigger games and stuff like that as well. And obviously we'll be all the knockout games and, last 16 quarterfinals. We're going to be doing as many of them as we can as well. So make sure you're subscribing, following, liking, sharing, all of that good stuff. Over the next couple of months, it's going to be helter-skelter. But yeah, I appreciate it though. Yeah, anyone as well that's watching, please do hit the subscribe button on YouTube as well. It helps out the channel an awful lot. I really appreciate it. Yeah. So, as well, another topic I wanted to touch on, guys, as well, is that obviously Bruno Fernandes done a fairly in-depth interview with The Athletic this week, and some great comments from him, and some very interesting comments in relation to Manchester United and his time under Solskjaer and now playing under Ten Hag, and how he's seen by referees and stuff on the pitch. So I'm going to go through some of the things that he said. One of the big questions around it was how vocal he is on the pitch in relation to Paul. Thanks for the gift, really appreciate it. how vocal he is to the likes of referees and things like that on the pitch. And, you know, he tends to come across as quite moany and, you know, gives out about decisions and things like that. And look, it's not something that that bothers me an awful lot, as long as it doesn't affect his game. I mean, you look at the likes of Roy Keane, for example. Now, I'm not comparing him in any way to Roy Keane, but if you look at Roy Keane, you know, back in the glory days, every decision, the United, not just Roy Keane, but Gary Neville and Paul Scholes and Ryan Giggs and Ferdinand and Rooney, onto the referee all the time. So I think, you know, Fernandez is in that kind of bracket. He does want to win, and he doesn't like decisions going against him, and that's normal. But he does say, one of the referees said to me, Bruno, all the time you were whining. You were such a good guy, but when you were losing or drawing, oh my God, you're a pain in the arse. But he does come out and say, I want to be like that, which is good to see, because Shane says you're from Kilkenny. I am, Shane. I certainly am. But yeah, I'm happy that he's like that, because it means he wants to win, and he fights for every decision, and, you know, he wants every decision to go their way, and it's great to see, because you know, for far too long now, we've been too passive, and we've been too easy to push aside, and we've been pushovers and things like that. So interesting. Now the poll is after finishing on TikTok there. So we asked Casemiro or McTominay, and 65% say Casemiro should start against City, and 35% then say McTominay. So interesting to see. And let's see what people are saying here on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, it's a massive in favour here of Casemiro. 89% think Casemiro should start against City, while 11% do think that McTominay should start. So interesting there. But yeah, like, getting back to Bruno, you know, there was plenty of other things that he mentioned. We'll go down through some of the things he said, because some of them were quite interesting. He was asked about Ten Hag, and he said, first of all, Ten Hag has an idea, he has a style, you have to follow his rules, he is strict on that, and I like that, says Bruno. He has brought discipline, which is something I think we missed in the past. Everyone must be on the same page, and this is just music to my ears. You know, and it should be to any other Manchester United fan who's been following this team over the last, you know, couple of years, you know, since you know, maybe the honeymoon period, that, you know, when Ollie finished, you know, and even back to Mourinho, you know, the Pogba bullshit, and, you know, Mourinho not getting what he wanted, and, you know, it's great to see that, you know, Ten Hag is in there, and he's taking control, and he's in charge, and the players are behind him, and they're following the rules, you know, and them rules need to be there, because these players have got away with far too much over the last few years. So that's music to my ears, and, you know, I'm absolutely delighted, you know, to hear that kind of talk. Let's see what people are saying. We'll read some of the comments out here. Vincent says, is Luke Shaw finished at United? See him losing a place to a new signing. I am sad about this, actually. Well, look, I think Luke Shaw, I don't think he's finished at Manchester United. I don't think he'll ever be number one choice again. I said it when we brought in Malacia, that I was thinking that potentially by the end of the season, maybe into the second half of the season, after Christmas at best, that he would be the first choice left back. What are we, 5-6 games into the Premier League season? He's already the first choice left back instantly. So I think Luke Shaw's overrated. I do. I think he's been at Manchester United 8 years now, and he's had 2 good spells that have lasted maybe 6 or 7 weeks each, and that's not good enough, you know. So yeah. Ashwin says, will Martial play? Is he available? Well, look, we'll know in 2 weeks' time. I think he probably will be available for the City game, which is good news. Martial is still injured. He could be back for the City game, though, says Cottle. So people are saying they want me to follow Portugal, Ghana, Canada. We'll do a poll on it, and I'll make a decision maybe closer to the World Cup. Let's see. And Aaron says, in relation to Fernandez, yeah, but Keane didn't fall over with every little touch. Well, look, I agree with you, but it's a different game now, so you have to take the rough with the smooth. Patrick says Mac Sauce should get loaned out to Queen of the South in Scotland. Twig says, just got back from training. Harry Maguire level performance. Go on to Twigs. Mickey says, so just watching then, Twigs. I think it was slightly better than the Slabster. We had 3 defenders. Dylan says, Ericsson has been the best player at the club so far this season, all while playing out of a natural position. Whereas Donny says, Montauk. Well, look, Donny is there. I mean, Donny is... I feel sorry for Donny, really. I mean, I don't think Donny's tenure at Manchester United is going to be overly long or fruitful. And it's not down to his fault, really. It's just we have Casemiro, we have Ericsson, and we have Bruno Fernandes, and he doesn't get in ahead of any of them players. If we do have injuries, then absolutely, I'm delighted to have him in the team, and he is a good player. But I don't think he's going to get... I don't think he's going to be one of the starting options for Manchester United if we have a fully fit team, you know. Keep smashing the like button for us as well, guys. 30 people watching on YouTube and only 14 likes. Please take a second, hit the thumbs up button for me, helps the channel out a ton. Please hit the like button as well on TikTok. Keep tapping that screen for me. You can subscribe to the TikTok channel as well if you wish to do so. You get some extra content as a member. You get a special badge beside your name, and you also get a chance to join in on the lives with me here as well if you want to voice your opinion. So check the subscription tab out as well on TikTok. Vincent says Donny must go to Newcastle. They have cash. Send him on loan. Cottle says I think he'll get a decent bit of game time. Ericsson can't start every game. Yeah, I agree with you there, Cottle. Absolutely. Twig says what were Bruno and Williams talking about? I heard they said something. Yeah, so I'm going through some of Bruno's stuff here now, Twigs. We'll go down through it. Mickey says I don't see why we don't get Donny working on a winger role. As he will need more depth in those positions. Well, look, again, that's something, Mickey, that Ten Hag knows more of. You know, if he's training week in, week out with these players, and he knows Donny inside out from having him at Ajax. So, you know, I'm sure he's going to be. I'm sure he's aware of that option. You know, so Patrick says, "How's the podcast going?" It's going good. We didn't do on last week because obviously we didn't have a game, but we're doing one live tomorrow night. We're going to be talking, you know, talking about Manchester United, but we're also going to be talking about the international break and the Nations League in particular, and how shit it really is, and is there even you know, any point of it. So for anyone who wants to join in on that, guys, you can find the link. It's pinned to the top of the chat on YouTube, or you can scan the QR code, or for anyone watching on TikTok, the link is on my homepage to all my socials. You'll see the podcast there as well. It's on Podbean. We're going live tomorrow night on Podbean from 7:30, and you can actually do phone-ins on it as well. So if any of you want to call in and voice your opinion, you absolutely can do so. If you're listening on your phone, you can just hit the call in button and we'll get you in on the podcast and you can give your opinion. So it's like a little radio talk show. So check that out as well, guys. Podbean app. You can download it on iOS or on Android. And yeah, United Community Podcast. So check it out. Patrick says Nations League is the League Cup of international football. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, so let's go down through some of the other things that Bruno Fernandes said. Obviously, we went through what he said about Ten Hag. Let me just see. He said so much. I want to see which one we'll talk about. Oh yeah, so he was talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well, and he says he still keeps in contact with me. He still sends me some messages and says congratulations for certain things. He's someone who I want to remain in touch with. I said that to him before he left the club. So good relationship there, obviously. But again, look, you know, Solskjaer's gone. You know. Let's see what else he said. So we'll go on to some of the things that Brandon Williams said, because some people are asking about it there. So Brandon Williams was talking about Harry Maguire, and he said, sorry, let me just close this door. Dog is barking. So he's talking about Harry Maguire, and he says, people don't listen to the outside world. Harry Maguire will go into training 100% every day. Harry will give, whether he's starting the game or not, whether he's not starting the game, 100% all the time. He was also talking then about training. He said, if you're doing well in training, who who's some little idiot sat on Twitter that's going to tell you that you shouldn't be starting a game? Who is he? I genuinely don't get it. And he, again, talking about Maguire, said he had a great career. He's on stepping stones and he'll get to the top where he wants to be. He's already at the top. He's captain of Manchester United. I dream to be that one day, and he's already done it. So look, I mean, obviously these are just small little quotes coming out from teammates, and I'm not gonna over, analyze them. They're not going to be given out about each other, on these kind of interviews and stuff like that. So take it all with a pinch of salt. Aaron says, is it on Spotify? Yeah, it's on Spotify, guys. So anywhere you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, wherever you listen to them, we're on all of them. So go check out there. And make sure if you are listening on podcast, Aaron, do us a favour and give us a 5-star review as well, and follow. It just helps out the podcast as well. Keep smashing the like button as well for us, guys. Like I said, we have nearly 40 people watching on YouTube and only 14 likes. Please take a second, hit the thumbs up button for me. Helps the channel out a ton. Let's see. I'm going to find some of the other quotes here that Bruno was saying. He did have a lot to say. It was a long interview. I watched the first half of it today on YouTube. It's on YouTube if you want to go on this. It's a good listen. There's some interesting topics that he does talk about. He talks a lot about. Let me see, can I find it here? Oh yeah, so he was talking about Murta and Fletcher. He said, I said to them, I feel good in the club. It's a dream come true to be here. I would like to create stability for myself, for my family, but I also want to be competitive. I want to win trophies and play against the best. So that was in relation to, signing new players and bulking up the squad and things like that as well. So you can see, from that comment alone that Fernandes is there for the long run. He does want to win things at Manchester United. He doesn't want to maybe leave and not win anything, And you could see after the Europa League final how much it hit him. He was crying on the pitch, So, and that's the kind of mentality that we do need in our players. So, I'm all for it. The more of that, the better. Ashman says, who did you vote for United Player of the Month? Varane, Ericsson or Sancho? I'd probably give it to Varane, I'd have to say. I will give it to Varane, yeah. Bruno was also talking about Ralph Rangnick and maybe the failures of both Rangnick and the team last season, and he said it's nothing to do with Ralph. He tried his best. He's a good manager with good ideas, but it did not fit with everyone. This is because the team had been built with Ollie and his idea, and then a new manager comes in with his own ideas. Now this is something that I don't agree with Bruno on, and I think it goes to show the lack of professionalism that was in that squad last year. And it's not just, and we can't just put this down to players that have gone now, because the likes of Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford and Harry Maguire and, Wan-Bissaka and Scott McTominay and Fred, these were all players that were there. So they do have to take the rap on this. And saying that, it went wrong because we had one manager and then a new manager came in with new ideas and that's why it didn't work is nonsense, really, because that happens all the time, with not just lower teams, but with any team. Like you look at Chelsea, for example. Tuchel is gone, and now Graham Potter's going to come in. He's going to come in with new ideas. That doesn't mean that, Chelsea are going to have the worst season, in living memory. So that's something that I would have to disagree with Bruno on there. I mean, maybe there's a bit of deflection there that he, and it's something that I don't like to see. Is he deflecting away from himself or maybe just away from the players that are still there that he wants to, maybe protect them? I don't know. But I do think that last season's performances were so bad that, I mean, there has to be accountability. There really does. Sorry, guys. I just want to plug in my phone charger here. Give me 1 sec. Because the battery is dying. There we go. But yeah, so that's one thing maybe that I wouldn't have agreed with him on. But yeah. He was talking about himself complaining as well, that we kind of touched on. He said everyone does that in the Premier League, complaining to the referee. At Crystal Palace, Zaha is always complaining to the referee. It's because he's the victim of a foul. So it's normal that he complains to the referee. It's normal. So, look, I mean, it's good to see. I do want to see Manchester United like that to a certain extent in relation to, fighting for every decision. If a decision goes against them, they're on the referee, and yeah, I'm going to say it, influencing referees and influencing games. And we used to do that when we were at the top, in the 90s and in the 2000s. That was part of the game, and it still can be done. It can't be done in the same blood and guts way that the likes of Roy Keane and Yap Stam and all used to do it, for example. But it can be done in a subtle way. It really can. Let's see what people are saying on TikTok here. Football says, do you think Harry Maguire deserves to get in the England squad again? I don't know. I don't really follow England that much, to be honest. Football. He tends to suit a back five, or a three at the back, and England play that way, so maybe so. Thomas says, what do you reckon will happen with Maguire? Look, I don't know, guys. I don't see him leaving anytime soon, but I don't think he's going to be first choice anymore. I like the way Ten Hag brought in the unknown like Malacia, underrated players outperforming the known. You hit the nail on the head, Alston, there. Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I was so excited about Ralph Rangnick going in as the consultant role, because he's renowned for bringing in these young unknown players that maybe are on their first or second contract and turn them into megastars, so but Ten Hag seems to be of the same mindset as well. But on the same side, you do need the balance of the Casemiros coming in the door, and the say the Anthonys for the big money as well. If you get that balance right, then you're doing okay. Absolutely. Let's see. Tamale is in. How you doing? Good to see you, pal. Owen says, let me see, you're gone there. Where did that go on? I reckon we can get a result against City. Their defence isn't as strong. I agree, and that's what I said at the very start. I think City going forward are phenomenal. But they can be gotten at the back, and especially if they play a high line, like we've seen against Arsenal, like we've seen against Liverpool, Manchester United, exploiting that high line and getting in on a counter-attack. The likes of Rashford, for example, with pace in behind, absolutely. But again, I go back to what I said. It's our defence versus their attack is going to be the winning and losing of the game, I think. I have the hiccups. Twig says, I would love if Eriksen scored a goal. He deserves so much after being our best player so far. Yeah, I agree, absolutely. Patrick says, media training nonsense. And Twig says, Rangnick was bad, so I don't think we should pamper him, even though he lost the dressing room, brought out the worst in some players, and yet we act like he's won a trophy, says Twigs. No, look, I have to disagree with you on that one, Twigs. I think Rangnick is a very good coach, and we've seen basically instantly the uptake that he got from the Austria team when he went in and managed. After like 2 games, he already had him playing the way he wanted them to play, and that's down to the group of players that we had last year not going out and implementing what Rangnick wanted them to do. So I'm not going to badmouth Rangnick. I think now look, obviously I don't think he was never going to be the long-term option there. But I think as an interim manager coming in for 6 or 8 months or 7 months, whatever he was, I think the players have to carry the majority of that burden. I really do. Paul says, do you think the way the special one treated Rashford was why he's had a bad few seasons? Maybe so. I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, look, last year he was carrying a lot of injuries as well with his back, and he needed an operation and things like that as well. So that'll all come down to it as well. I mean, look, he started okay this season. He's got a few goals. I still think some of his performances have been quite poor. I mean, in particular, he goes and he scores 2 goals against Arsenal. I didn't think he played well. I thought he was quite poor. But when he got his chances, he scored. Yeah. So let's see what happens. I hope he just continues to improve under Ten Hag and, keeps, baby steps all the time. Aldop says, started to turn a corner under Ten Hag though. Absolutely. Owen says, Rooney and Neville and Rio were always under F's case. They were. OK says, Sanchez, goalkeeper, Gakpo, Tony, De Jong, Dumfries will complete this team. It certainly would. It'd be hard to all get though. That's for sure. Owen says, owners will never sell Maguire because they can't accept they've wasted 80 million on him. Well, what do you do though? He's going to be on the bench now. So do you let that price tag dwindle and eventually get 20 million, or do you sell him now? You probably get 30 or 40 million for him. Do you cash in the chips? So I don't know. Wayne says MUFC are crap. Thanks for that insightful bit of information there, Wayne. We all really appreciate it. Murph says, are we not? We are not great. We lose to Sociedad after 4 on the bounce wins. FFS, pathetic, so inconsistent. Murph, you're talking through your arse, I have to say, man. We've lost 1 game in 6. You know what I mean? I think you're talking absolute nonsense there. Inconsistent. If anything, we've been the most consistent we've been in since Jose Mourinho. And back then we were consistently defensive. So I think you're completely wrong there, I have to say. 100 Cats boy, says Dean the Machine. You up out of it, Dean. Jaden says 4-0 City. OK says Rashford could get you a goal a game, but make your team play worse, unfortunately. Thomas says Newcastle will definitely try by Maguire. And Stuart is in, says hi, good to see you, Stuart. And Maltune says the next game was postponed to when? So the next game is the 2nd of October, Sunday week against City. So a week from Sunday. Twig says Sancho has shocked me this season. Yeah, Twigs, absolutely, man. I've been very impressed with him, and he was one of the players. If you remember some of the videos I put up when Ten Hag first got the job, I was mentioning Sancho an awful lot, as I thought he would have been one of the players to keep an eye on and hopefully improve. And he is improving. He certainly is improving. So I've been delighted to see it, and hopefully he can keep it going. Aaron says we need a ruthless striker like Rude or RVP. And Twig says Wayne seems to have a real knowledge of the game. Give him a managerial job. Saw you open a packet of crisps with a scissors last week, says host. What? No, I didn't. Why would I open a packet of crisps with a scissors? Fuck you, I'll show you now. Well, give me a second. Potato crisps. For anyone who doesn't know, or anyone who's not from Ireland, these are the nicest crisps on the face of the planet. So here we go. No scissors, look. No scissors. They're closed. Oh baby. Who opens potatoes? Who opens crisps with scissors? I don't know. Crazy. Getting very defensive, mate. I'm passionate about my crisp opening abilities. JP says Arsenal are killing it right now. Do you think they can keep it up? No. I don't think so, JP. I don't think they have the squad depth, and I think they're very inexperienced. I mean, look at it. Who's their most experienced player? Jesus? You know what I mean? They're young. They're inexperienced. I don't think they'll last. They're in the top 4 race. Absolutely. And they'll be challenging with us for top 4. But I don't think they're nowhere near title contenders at the moment. They're really not. Paul says 2 slices of bread, man, and we're away. Paul, I had one last night. Potato sandwich. Brennan's bread. Perigold butter. It's great to be Irish, ain't it? Never seen those chips, says Vincent. They're Irish. Vincent, they're absolutely amazing. Cheese and onion flavour as well, by the way. Anyway. Let's get through some of the last comments before we hit the road. As well, guys, make sure you're following on TikTok as well if you haven't done so. Daily Manchester United content. Go back and give some of the TikToks a watch as well. Maybe a like and throw a comment in there as well. Really helps out the channel a lot. And we also have the subscription option as well. If you do want to subscribe to the channel on TikTok, you can. You get a special badge beside your name. You get some extra subscribers only content, and you get a chance to join these lives as well if you're a subscriber. So if you want to go and do that as well, by all means you can. Twigs says, are you going ploughing? No, I'm not, Twigs, I'm afraid. Vincent says Twitch. Yeah, so we're starting Twitch, guys, as well. And I'm going to be starting it in... Sorry, these taters are too good. So I'm going to be starting Twitch in October, November. When the new FIFA comes out, we're going to be starting a career mode on Twitch. Now, I have a Twitch channel already, and it's all set up, United Community Channel. So if you do want to go over and follow, to make sure you don't miss out, by all means do. Like I said, on YouTube, socials are pinned to the top of the chat there, or you can scan the QR code, or anyone watching on TikTok, link on my homepage there, you can go and follow on Twitch as well. So once the new FIFA is out, we're going to be starting a Manchester United career mode, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. So make sure you follow there as well so you don't miss out. Potatoes are unbelievable. Just can't not eat them. Now, but in saying that, with FIFA on Twitch, okay, obviously I'm going to be starting a Manchester United career mode. I haven't played FIFA in 5 or 6 years, I'd say. So I'm going to need your help, because I don't really know what I'm doing. So it's going to be a very interactive Twitch stream, and it's going to be a very interactive career mode. So I'd like all of your inputs on it as well, and what you think and things like that. So yeah, make sure you're following there as well. And like I said as well, guys, check out the podcast. We're going live tomorrow as well. If you do want to listen to us live and phone in, then by all means download the Podbean app, and it's United Community Podcast. We're going to be live tomorrow night. Get your phone calls in. Let us know what you think. We're going to be talking about the international break, about Manchester United, about the Nations League and stuff like that, and how good it is. So yeah, make sure you're following that as well. And follow us on all socials as well, guys. Like I said, pinned to the top of the chat on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube channel as well, guys. Anyone watching on TikTok, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, we do all of our watch-alongs over there as well. Link is on my homepage. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers before Christmas. So I'd really appreciate it if you could, do us a dig out. Hit the link on the homepage and subscribe to the YouTube channel, United Community Channel. Follow us on all other places. But yeah. It's been great. Let me check my calendar. What day is today? 20th. So we're doing a watch along on Saturday, guys. Scotland and Ireland are playing on Saturday. I don't know what time we're playing at. It's in the evening time. So going to be doing a watch along for that. So if there's any Scottish fans or Irish fans or any fans in general, if you want to jump along in on the watch along, we're going to be doing that Saturday. But again, I'll let you know. Like I said, we have the podcast tomorrow night, so I can let you know on that. I'm also going to be doing the another United news show on Friday, our usual slot at 7:30. So make sure you're around for that. So a busy few days coming up. Podcast tomorrow night, United news show Friday night at 7:30. And then Ireland versus Scotland on Saturday night, watch along. So make sure you're liking, following, subscribing, sharing, all of that good kind of stuff. I really appreciate all the comments. As well, guys, look, there's 30 people in watching on YouTube and only 16 likes. So if you haven't already done so, really, really appreciate it. If you took a second, hit the thumbs up button for me. Really helps out the channel an awful lot. Gets the algorithms going, gets the channel moved up. We're nearly at 4,000 watch hours as well on YouTube, so we're getting very close to the monetization, being able to push that monetization button. So I really appreciate everyone that's helping out. Again, look, It wouldn't be possible without any of you watching, guys. So I really, really do appreciate it. Yeah, it's been great. But look, I hope I can catch some of you tomorrow night on the podcast live. Hopefully you can call in and give your opinions on some of the topics we're talking about. If not, I hope I see you on Friday for another Man United news show, and as well for the Ireland watch along on Saturday. But it's been great. Thanks for all the comments, shares, subscribes, follows, guys. Really appreciate it. Chat to you soon.